because, so often the vision of the film is just in my head, and it's my job to try to figure out how to get every...
Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. It's November 11th, 2025, and I've got all your top stories to keep you company during your rush hour ride to work. Unless, of course, you've got the day off for Veterans Day. I don't, but I'm still showing up and mailing this one in. We've got plenty to cover on this 11/11. Make a wish, right? It's that day when half the internet soaks their crystals and manifests new beginnings. I actually looked it up. Turns out 11/11 is considered a superstitious and spiritual tradition, not something with any scientific basis, though that hasn't stopped astrology fans from going all in. Don't come for me, Geminis! Many people think the symmetry of 11/11 represents good luck, a spiritual message, or an ideal moment for manifesting. So hey, I'm manifesting that you'll hit the like button right now. Anyway, today's show dives into Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni, as they've reached an agreement to extend expert discovery. It's not groundbreaking, but it's worth mentioning. Then, we've got an update on the Justice for Clayton community. Looks like Laura Owens has reportedly filed a bar complaint against some of her adversaries. If she could file one against me, she probably would have done it ages ago, but luckily YouTube isn't the bar, so we're safe here. We'll also talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene getting called out again by Donald Trump. Somehow, she's starting to sound like one of the few reasonable voices in the Republican Party. Yeah, I can't believe I said that either. But back to Laura Owens. She's allegedly filed complaints against Omar Serrato and Rachel Wars, according to reports from victims of hers on Instagram. We'll have to wait and see what the actual complaints involve. What we do know is that these people left their families to attend a trial where Laura didn't even show up. That was last week's case, where she was trying to extend a domestic violence restraining order against Mike Maricini. The judge dismissed it, basically saying, if you don't show up, we're not doing this. Now she's reportedly appealing, claiming she wasn't given proper disability accommodations. Who knows? And honestly, who cares? Still no confirmation yet on whether the trial of the century, the state of Arizona versus Laura Owens, will actually happen in January or get delayed again. But I'll tell you this, if it happens, I'll be there, whether as an expert witness or just to cover it. And since I'll be in Arizona either way, I'm planning a few stand-up shows while I'm there. So head over to Rush Hour with Dave. Come and sign up for the mailing list to stay updated. I just locked in a show for December 6th in New York City at the West Side Comedy Club, a late-night Saturday gig. And I'll have plenty more shows coming up, so make sure you sign up for free at Rush Hour with Dave. Come to stay in the loop. Now, on to the news. The airport shutdown is over, but travel chaos is still very much a thing. Take Newark Airport, for example. Lines everywhere. Thanksgiving travelers, get ready. It's like Disneyland in there. You might wish you had one of those express passes just to get through. A shortage of air traffic controllers hasn't helped either. Trump says, get back to work, they say. Pay me, buddy. And hopefully, things will normalize soon. Meanwhile, in the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni saga, both sides have agreed they need more time, though no settlement has been reached. They've jointly requested the court to modify its case management plan to extend the deadline for expert discovery by 1 week, moving it from December 5th to December 12th, specifically for expert witness depositions. With the holidays approaching and transportation slowing down thanks to prior shutdowns, this extra time seems necessary. Expert witnesses will explain why each side needs certain evidence or testimony, and while they can strengthen a case, a bad expert can also hurt it. Think Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp, where the quality of the expert testimony made a huge difference. Gender and expertise matter too. For example, an intimacy coordinator who is male might not be the right expert for Baldoni's side. So both sides will present their experts, depositions will be taken, and we'll see whose expert holds up best. Essentially, an expert measuring contest. To recap, ChatGPT confirms that Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, along with all parties, have agreed to extend expert discovery from December 5th to December 12th due to scheduling conflicts. And this request doesn't affect other deadlines like trial dates or summary judgment. And who knows, maybe some of these folks will even come to my December 6th show in New York. The document in question is signed by multiple law firms representing both sides, so that's the official word on the extension. I had thought maybe the deadline was being extended because of the holidays. Maybe an old-fashioned Christmas extension, with families to see and Hanukkah around the corner. I'm not sure what Justin Baldoni observes in terms of faith, but historically, there have been moments of truce that show people can put differences aside. Take the famous World War I Christmas truce of 1914, for example, a temporary ceasefire where opposing sides played a soccer match. It's heartening to see how sports can bring people together and remind us we have more in common than not, but it's also tragic. After a brief moment of humanity, the fighting resumed. Of course, I'm not comparing Baldoni and Blake Lively to a war. They're dealing with far less severe stakes. But it is interesting to see that even in high-pressure situations, there can be room to pause and recalibrate. Will the judge grant the extension? That remains to be seen. In the grand scheme, it doesn't really matter, but it's part of the story, along with a quick note that will touch on Veterans Day at the end of the episode. Meanwhile, Reality T.com has a piece on Blake Lively that, while not Pulitzer-winning, gives us material to work with. They bluntly note, "She ain't no Beyoncé." And now, a quick word from our sponsor. Rua Health is making mental health care more convenient and accessible for millions of people. High costs and difficulty finding the right therapist have kept many from getting care, but Rua connects you with licensed professionals easily and affordably. They accept most major insurance plans, with average copays around $15 per session, and have a network of over 15,000 therapists and psychiatrists nationwide. Thousands have already trusted Rua to support their mental health and overall well-being. Head to Rua.com Rusher to get started today, and when they ask how you heard about them, mention the show to support us. Tell them we sent you. Visit Rula.com Rush Hour and take the first step toward better mental health today. You deserve quality care from someone who truly cares. Now on to the story-making waves. An article titled, "Blake Lively Thinks She's Beyoncé," says a Hollywood producer. According to reports, Blake Lively's legal team has filed a lawsuit against Justin Baldoni, accusing him of damaging her reputation and derailing her career, allegedly costing her major brand deals, film roles, and profits from her ventures like Blake Brown and Betty Buzz. The suit reportedly seeks nearly $500 million in damages, though many in the industry are skeptical. "She's talented, sure," one studio executive told Rob Shooter's Naughty Gossip Scoop, "but $161 million? Blake's not pulling Marvel money. Ryan's the brand, not her." Others in Hollywood echoed the sentiment, noting that even her biggest films didn't gross that much. One veteran producer put it bluntly, "She's acting like a mogul when she's mid-tier at best. People are whispering she thinks she's Beyoncé." Despite the backlash, those close to Lively insist the lawsuit isn't about greed. She's embarrassed. "This is about pride," said a friend. Still, mockery continues to ripple across industry circles. And honestly, if it's about pride, that's the wrong reason to fight it. If she truly believes she was harassed, that's another matter entirely. But either way, ego's a costly motivator, and both sides are spending heavily to make their case. That's the latest on Blake Lively, but there's also big movement in Washington. The government is set to reopen, and Speaker of the House Magic Mike Johnson is preparing to swear in Gralda after nearly 50 days. You might remember, Gralda's the tie-breaking vote needed to push for a motion on the Epstein files. For weeks, people have speculated that Johnson's delaying tactics are meant to stall their release. But now, we might finally see movement. Megyn Kelly recently interviewed Marjorie Taylor Greene, expecting her to deliver the usual pro-Trump talking points. Instead, Greene suggested the government's delay might be tied directly to the Epstein documents. When asked what's really going on, she said she's begun to question whether the House's extended break was intentional. Greene noted that, while the government wasn't technically shut down because of Epstein, Johnson still sent members home instead of keeping them in Washington to negotiate. She went on to explain the key issue, the discharge petition. For years, the public has demanded the Epstein files be released. Congressman Thomas Massie introduced a resolution to make that happen, and Greene co-sponsored it. But despite widespread support, the Speaker has repeatedly blocked it from reaching the floor. Normally, only the Speaker can decide which bills get a vote. But if 218 members sign a discharge petition, it forces the issue to the floor regardless. As of now, there are 217 signatures, just one short. Most are Democrats, with only 4. Republicans signing on, Thomas Massie, Green herself, and a few others. "I'm just shocked there isn't more outrage," Megyn Kelly said during the interview. "How can they not have all the signatures?" Green agreed, pointing out that officials keep offering excuses, claiming they're doing their own research or trying to protect victims. In her view, those are just delay tactics. The public overwhelmingly wants the files released, likely over 85% of Americans. "When will our elected officials start doing what we demand of them?" she asked. So far, only Nancy Mace and Lauren Boebert have joined the petition alongside Green and Massie. When asked why more Republicans aren't signing, Green hinted that sensitive information from the ongoing Oversight Committee investigation, which she also serves on, may be influencing some members' hesitation. "I'm involved in that investigation, and recently a batch of emails was released showing that Jeffrey Epstein worked closely with Israel on various military contracts and intelligence operations, including with agencies like Mossad. Some people might label you anti-Semitic for mentioning this, but that's not accurate. It's possible to criticize a foreign government without criticizing its people." Multiple reliable sources, including progressive journalist Ryan Grimm, have confirmed that Epstein indeed had clandestine dealings with the Israeli government. This aligns with long-standing assumptions that Epstein was working with foreign powers. He possessed dirt on numerous influential individuals, and most Americans just want the truth about who engaged in illegal or abusive behavior. I've said before, I don't care if it involves Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, or even Bill Nye. We just want transparency. The focus should be on exposing wrongdoing, not protecting political favorites. This is where partisanship often skews perspective. Some Trump supporters treat him like a cult hero, prioritizing loyalty over policy. On the left, there are similar examples. Fans of Obama, AOC, or Bernie, for instance. But for the most part, people prioritize policy and outcomes over personalities. If exposing wrongdoing means confronting powerful individuals, so be it. Meanwhile, we'll see if Gralda is allowed to move forward. On a lighter note, most holiday gifts end up forgotten in drawers or lost at a cousin's house. But not this one. Mint Mobile is offering unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month, their best deal of the year. It's the only gift you'll actually use every day. You can choose a 3, 6, or 12-month plan, bring your current phone and number, and get high-speed data, unlimited text, and talk on the nation's largest 5G network. Don't gift socks. Gift premium wireless. Shop plans at Mint Mobile. ComTR. Offer requires upfront payment. $45 for 3 months, $95 for 6 months, or $180 for 12 months. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 35 GB. Capable device required. Back in politics, Trump isn't exactly aligned with Marjorie Taylor Greene at the moment. Speaking in the Oval Office, he was asked about Greene's recent criticisms, where she urged him to focus more on domestic issues rather than constant foreign policy meetings. Taylor Greene, a longtime ally, suggested she would rather see Trump spending more time on domestic policy at the White House than engaging in non-stop foreign affairs. When asked about rising grocery prices and inflation, she was clear. She doesn't agree with the president's claims that there's virtually no inflation or that grocery prices are falling. "I go to the grocery store myself," she said. "Prices remain high. Energy costs are up. My electricity bills are higher here in Washington, D.C., and that's just the reality." She emphasized that while some people may argue about specific items or regions, the overall trend is undeniable. Groceries are up, energy is more expensive, and tariffs have increased costs on certain goods. Policies like ICE, rounding up migrant workers, have also impacted produce availability, contributing to higher prices. "We all agree groceries have gone up," she said. Yet we're being gaslighted by someone who probably never bought an avocado in his life. The issue isn't just personal experience. She hears similar struggles from constituents in places like Rome, Georgia, who are grappling with rising rent, groceries, and other expenses, sometimes maxing out credit cards just to get by. She also reflected on broader political leadership. "I don't know what happened to Marjorie Taylor Greene," she said. "She's a nice woman, but she's lost her way. You have to view the presidency as a global situation. A bad president can make the world unsafe and affect us at home. We've had a horrible one, and the effects are clear." She highlighted programs like USAID, which cost Americans about $100 per person but helped prevent disease, famine, and other global crises. It wasn't about giving handouts. It was about making the world safer with minimal investment, she explained. Instead, she says, current policies have disrupted the global economy, slowed U.S. job creation, and led other countries to bypass America in favor of alternatives, like Canada working with Vietnam. She also criticized Trump's handling of international crises, referencing Russia, Ukraine, and other conflicts. Greene, who has made statements questioning domestic priorities, surprised her. When someone like Marjorie starts making these claims, it shows she doesn't fully understand the issues, she said. Rumors that Greene's potential Senate run was blocked by Trump, perhaps because he saw her as a useful idiot, also came up. Despite the criticism, she stressed the importance of policy over personality. Look at the issues: cheaper healthcare, affordable groceries, taxing the ultra-wealthy. That's what matters. At some point, people like Marjorie have to decide where they stand in a post-Trump world. It's a choice many of us face. Here's an interesting story. A woman who was living out of her car tried to sleep in the parking lot of Second Reformed Church. She wasn't bothering anyone. She just needed a place to crash for the night. Someone from the church filmed her, presumably because she wasn't supposed to be there, but it didn't go as planned. She calmly said, "I just want to park my car and sleep. I don't cause any trouble. I don't know where else to go." Her message raises bigger questions. What happened to helping those in need? Helping people in despair? This is less about criticizing individuals and more about examining the structure of some churches. In fact, she's been conducting a broader social experiment, contacting churches across the country to see who would help her feed her baby. Some churches, like Charlie Kirk's former church, offered bureaucratic processes. You can come through our system, but weren't proactive in providing immediate help. In contrast, some mosques responded promptly, asking what she needed, which brand, what flavor, and offering to provide it on the spot. Churches are supposed to be community centers that help those in need, yet many only serve those they deem worthy or within their immediate community. While the majority may be good, this one woman's actions are sparking meaningful change. Her experiment highlighted systemic issues, prompting dozens of pastors to rethink how calls for help are handled. Many churches bring in significant revenue but don't pay taxes. That lack of financial contribution to the public welfare system is notable. Ideally, we could live in a world where churches pay taxes, and those funds, along with general taxes, go toward programs that help people in real need. We should have audited systems, oversight, and efficiency programs to ensure resources actually reach those struggling single mothers, people living in cars, anyone lacking basic necessities. That's the essence of what Jesus advocated, helping the sick and the poor. This conversation ties into broader issues, like how we treat veterans. It's Veterans Day, yet many veterans receive inadequate health care. Some families, like mine, have had to move to remote areas simply to access a functioning hospital because the VA system was so broken. Advocates often argue that universal health care won't work, pointing to the VA as an example. But the real problem is the lack of accountability and resources. We need a system that genuinely cares for all citizens, including those who have served, ensuring that everyone has access to basic necessities, shelter, and health care. It doesn't work, she said. Obamacare doesn't work. none of it works because we're not all in. She emphasized that as a country, we need to commit fully, all in, to funding our schools, repairing crippling infrastructure, and ensuring access to health care. Right now, too many people fall into debt simply because a medical condition racks up exorbitant costs. The solution, she explained, isn't relying on churches to hope someone lets you park in their lot or helps in a moment of need. It's electing officials who truly represent the people, not corporate interests or foreign money, and using tax dollars to fund social programs that allow everyone to live with dignity. People shouldn't have to white-knuckle through sickness or fear losing a day of pay because they can't take time off. She acknowledged that political change takes time. It might not happen in the next election, she said, but if we continue to support leaders who genuinely fight for Americans' best interests, who aren't taking money from insurance lobbyists or dark special interests, eventually those voices become the majority. That majority, she said, would ensure a system that protects and supports everyone. She concluded with a special message to veterans. While we honor your service, it's equally important to ensure you have the resources to live your lives fully. All right, she said. We'll be back this afternoon. I'm Dave. This is The Rush.